So today, we have some goals, and I have prepared a new presentation. Sorry for the flashbang, white screen from Sudden Darkness, but anyways. So, after the events that have previously transpired for the agency, a new report was mandated by the Department of War. So today we will be reporting on our successes, setbacks, and enemy progress. Stagnik 1 was a resounding success. We managed to launch the world's first artificial satellite into orbit around Kerbin. It is currently orbiting between 70 and 80,000 kilometers over Kerbin, just outside the atmosphere, steadily beeping away with its onboard batteries, scheduled to keep it in operation for quite some time to come. Newspapers around the world were quite ecstatic about both the success of our space program and fear for what we could potentially put into orbit besides a tiny little orb. So, all around, an amazing success. Here we have an artist representation. Naturally, as the first artificial satellite, there was no external cameras to take pictures of it once it was up there. Jebediah Kerman successfully launched into space, passing the Kármán line and becoming the first Kerbal to enter space, as well as the first Kerbal to successfully orbit Kerbin and return. This was carried out aboard Vostag 1. It was a great success for the program, and again demonstrated the technological prowess of the UCCR. Unfortunately, the following mission on Vostag 2 was not as successful. Vostag 2 was scheduled to be a tourist mission, having demonstrated the safety, or believed at the time, believed safety of our ability to send a Kerbal into orbit and return them to the surface. Two tourist contracts were accepted to launch untrained Kerbals into space, using a probe core to remotely control the rocket and ensure the safety of the passenger. Team Kerman was selected as the first tourist to be sent aboard Vostag 2, while Vostag 3 was also prepared simultaneously to allow for the second tourist contract to be completed shortly after her return. Unfortunately, after successfully circularizing and successfully orbiting Kerbin, her stability assist system was not properly disengaged after circularizing, and throughout her orbit around the planet, the reaction wheels continually fired to keep the craft pointed prograde, which was unnecessary, and drained the batteries on board the craft. Such events were considered by our engineers as a possibility and were prepared for with the use of a reserve power system. However, this reserve power system was not adequately tested and had never been having never been trialed on a completed rocket before. And unfortunately, during Timon's mission, the reserve power system failed to activate, and the craft was left unpowered and uncontrollable, preventing her from performing a deorbit burn. Vostag 3 was quickly reconfigured and launched as a rescue mission with Bill Kerman on board as an engineer. Vostag 3 had been outfitted with 2 external spare battery packs, the plan being to rendezvous with Timon Kerman, and then Bill would EVA across to Vostag 2 and weld one of the spare batteries to the outside of Vostag 2. This would allow the craft to regain power and enable a safe descent burn. Our program had been planning to perform both spacewalk and rendezvous a few months from then, as a part of the Vosk-Hart program, which was to supersede the Vostok program. Unfortunately, in pushing our schedule ahead, we were unable to fully prepare for an orbital rendezvous. Despite several attempts, Bill Kerman was unable to successfully meet up with Team Kerman. He was able to perform a successful spacewalk and was able to demonstrate the ability to detach and reattach components of the craft, but was unable to actually attach a battery to Tiemann's craft before he ran low on fuel and was forced to perform his own descent burn lest he be stranded in orbit as well. Vostok 4 was immediately prepared as a second rescue attempt, but unfortunately, the craft was not ready in time before Tiemann Kerman unfortunately passed away, her life support system having failed. Tiemann Kerman marks the first Kerbal to die in space, and as a result, all future tourism contracts will be discontinued for the foreseeable future. The original tourist scheduled to be aboard Vostok 3 has elected by his own volition to continue on his contract, and he will be launched into orbit aboard Vosk-Hart 1 shortly. He was given full opportunity to back out, but he has elected to continue ahead with his journey. All this time, the ATF has not been idle in its own space endeavors, having launched their own satellite into orbit around Kerbin, and about a week ago, Arnold Kerman became the first Kerbal from the ATF to successfully orbit Kerbin and return. Here we have photos showing the Messenger 3 rocket on board which he was flown, as well as a photo of him after having returned and safely landed in Houston, Texas, near the ATF's spaceport. It is important that we must maintain our momentum and lead over the ATF. While they have not caught up to our capabilities in space, having yet to perform a spacewalk and still unable to launch larger payloads into orbit, it is only a matter of time before they catch up to where we are. And so, despite the tremendous financial losses incurred as a result of the tragedy of Vostok 2, we must push ahead to maintain our position. On the global front, political machinations have been carried out. The ATF has formed an alliance with the nations of Kratz and Deutschland, as well as a currently ongoing negotiating a treaty with the country of Kurti. Simultaneously, the UCCR has entered into a pact with Kolska and Cuba, and is pursuing relations with Vietnam. Going forward, our goals have been adjusted in response to the events that have unfolded thus far, and where we are hoping to go in the future to prepare ourselves for our future missions. Our biggest goal currently is to financially recover from the heavy losses sustained from the Vostok 2 mission's failure. The agency was temporarily put into some significant debt as a result of the mission's failure. We have managed to recover and are now back in the green, but we are a long ways away from where we were before that mission was carried out. We still may have plans to establish a satellite network around Kerbin, and we will be moving ahead with plans to perform a rendezvous and dock 2 spacecraft in orbit around Kerbin before making any attempt to put a Kerbal on either Minmus or the Moon, which will be our next main objectives after performing a successful rendezvous and docking. We still have hopes to create a space station in orbit after the Moon landings. And of course, it is our top priority to not kill any more Kerbals.